Now, I don't know what I was thinking of yesterday when I turned this down. I must have really been overtired or something, because I turned this down wrong. So this morning I came down here and I've done another one. You know, it's amazing how fast you can rough something like this out when you don't have to fool around with the camera. Not that I don't enjoy fooling around with the camera, but anyway, and like I say, roughed it out. So now I've got it the shape that I had wanted it, you know, when I closed off the episode yesterday. Now we can just sort of continue on. And I think you're going to, in a very few minutes, see what it is that I'm trying to do here. Okay, that's the shape I want. As for this one, now this doesn't have to be perfect, but it'd be nice if the blade passed right through the center of that center hole there. And the reason for that is that, well, there'll be less wobble on the lathe later. You're probably starting to see what's going to happen here now. I'm going to go this way, turn it 90 degrees, and go again this way. And I'm going to run the blade right up to about here, very carefully. And it's going to be kind of hard to hold it so that it doesn't, roll on me and sort of spiral, if you know what I mean. So I got to sort of keep an eye on what's happening that way too. Yeah, it's too bad that this didn't come out just a little bit further here, because then what I could do is put a little piece of square material on the end here, which sort of hold it flat. I wonder if I can't do that yet anyway. Well, I've concluded it's just going to be too hard to rig up a sort of a jig that'll hold this from rolling. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it. It's not going to be a huge deal, and I know it's not going to end up looking like a corkscrew, so yeah, let's see what we can do here. Now it's kind of funny. I'm always spotting stuff when I'm editing out afterwards, after the fact. You know what? I could have made my little square jig and had it right up against the fence. The fence was extending far enough back. Well, as it turns out, it turned out okay. Well, it sure takes that a long time to coast to a stop. Let's try it out. Well, you're going to see it along with me for the first time here. Where would be a good place for these jaws to come? Probably right there. I don't want to tighten it up too much here until I get it centered. Oh. Now. Alright. Now that goes in there. Now we'll tighten the jaws down a bit. Okay, now the idea is when I crank this in, it spreads out a little. I just have to be careful not to do it too much. But that is nice and tight now. I wonder how centered it is. I'm scared to try it. Perfect. So that's what I was trying to make. Yeah, pretty smart. You know what, I think I should really make a little mark, one here, and then I can tell when I got that centered. I'm just going to eyeball this here. Close enough. Now there's something I want to show you here. You notice how the edge here is kind of sharp? Well, I just want to round that over. The reason being is that, let's say that the wood is just slightly larger than the salt and pepper shaker parts. And when you're holding it, you happen to rub your thumb or finger on the edge here, you'd feel that. So I'm just going to take those down just slightly. I know that I'm going to have to do the air compressor thing again, but that'll only take a minute. Okay, I'm just going to use 600 grit here, very gently. Now remember, this doesn't have to be real tight. Now had I used the bushing, you can see that the CA glue, if it was to run off the edge here, which it probably will, it has a chance of gluing my bushing to the inside of the brass tube there. Whereas right now, it's sort of almost suspended in midair. Now, if I was to really sop it on, and it was to run in and along the inside, well, then I can see where I could have a problem. I'm just going to try not to sop it on. Well, folks, we are almost there. I'm just noticing that some of my many clocks are starting to gong 2 o'clock. So we're getting near the end of this episode. And what I'm doing here is I'm making up special little, I don't know what you call it, CA glue pads. And yeah, you'll see what I'm going to be doing with them in just a second here. Because like I say, we're almost ready to do the CA glue finish process. Oh, by the way, this is the liner out of a cereal box. Works really good for this kind of stuff. Usually the sort of thing you throw out. I'm starting to develop that, what do they call it? Rhythmatic distraction syndrome or something? Well, that worked out. And I didn't count and it worked out. Now I don't know how well you can hear me above the noise of that fan. However, we're turning at about 300 RPM here. That might actually be too quick. The person has to be careful that the centrifugal force doesn't throw the liquid CA glue off. Maybe I'll slow it down just a little bit here. Okay, that's about 220 RPM. You are going to notice a huge difference in the monkey wood. It's just going to darken right up and richen right out. And easy does it here now. Notice that smoke coming off of there? That's why I have the fan on. Blow those fumes away from my face. I'm letting everything run at real time here. In other words, I'm not cutting anything out, speeding anything up, or you know what I mean. And it could be that somebody has never done the CA glue process for a finish before. And they might wonder, well, how long do you wait in between applications? Well, this is the way I do it. Some people may do it different, but this is what works for me. Okay, that's just one application. Look at how that shine just pops right out. I'll probably give it 6 or 8. I might even have to do a little sanding in between depending on, how it looks. But right now I'm very satisfied with the way it looks. I'm going to try and get a little bit in the end grain here, sort of waterproof everything. Which brings up another point. You do not want to immerse these in water. I hope you can hear what I'm saying here. It's really noisy in here right now. I'm noticing a little bubble right there. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to sand. I'm going to put one more application on and then probably give it 600 grit or maybe 800 grit. You can see it's a little bit liquidy still right there. I don't want to touch that. And I could use the curing agent, but I have found from experience that occasionally the curing agent will cause it to bubble, and it makes it all that much harder to finish. Anyway, I think you probably get the idea of what's happening here. I'm going to give that about 20 minutes. And to you people that are in this little Facebook group, I got 4 comments about whether or not we should allow Peter in on it. And all 4 said no objection. That was really nice. I guess I can assume that most people feel that way.